on the Hill. The Pentagon's top brass has arrived, testifying on the U.S. strategy against ISIS. Defense Secretary Ash Carter, Joint Chiefs Chairman General Joseph Dunford set to testify. This as we get reports the president is considering recommendations that would move our personnel closer to the front lines in Iraq and put boots on the ground in Syria for the first time. Wow. Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger with me now, pilot in the Air National Guard. And, sir, welcome back to you. I know we've had strike forces go in and out of Syria, but this would be an entirely different deal. The focus would be on Raqqa in eastern Syria and Ramadi in Iraq, a town that was pretty peaceful just 4 years ago. What do you think is the right move?
Well, look, I think we do have to step up the fight. The president has been kind of obsessed with talking to the American people about what we won't do, what lines we won't cross. I think it's time to talk about what we will do, which is the fact that we're going to defeat ISIS, we're going to crush them, and in 10 years we'll look back and there'll be a footnote in history if we do this right. And so, look, Raqqa is their spiritual headquarters in Syria. This is the headquarters of the whole Islamic State. Obviously, Ramadi is a big fight in Iraq. So I think the more that we can be involved in, unfortunately, nobody likes to talk about it, but we're going to have to do some direct action. It's part of what I did in Iraq. We found people where we had the guys that are really fierce on our side, the special operators, come in and either kill or capture those people. And we continued that, got new intel, and unwound those networks until they were basically destroyed. And I think that is what we're going to have to probably do.
But you have to commit to make that happen, as you well know.
Yeah.
Well, what's the number?
There'll have to be some real commitment.
What's the number of troops? Do the American people support it?
Well, I don't know the actual number. I mean, that's to the Pentagon and the president. What I think we need to have is the proper number so that we can inflict the amount of combat power necessary to unravel these networks. It's going to be a lot more of special operators. It'll probably be some people on the ground protecting them, surrounding the bases, keeping them safe. But I think, look, when this is all said and done, the American people want a president and a strategy that's going to defeat the enemy of freedom in America, not one that's necessarily going to look good in the newspapers.
It seemed like the fall of Ramadi is really what got the attention of those in Washington. You agree on that, yes or no?
Yeah, I agree. But keep in mind, 2 years ago, Mosul fell, Fallujah fell, where the Marines fought the hardest they had fought since Quezon. That's when we should have started bombing, but instead we waited a year and we allowed this organization to develop legs, tentacles, and frankly, it's almost a country.
But you can make these recommendations to the commander-in-chief. He doesn't have to act. He doesn't have to follow them.
No, he's got a tremendous amount of power in the Constitution, and this ultimately, the strategy that he puts in place is on him. It's his decision and his decision alone. He can take as much input or as little as he wants, but history will judge the president in terms of did he stop ISIS or did he give them an environment where they can explode. And I think pulling out of Iraq was the beginning of some bad choices.
Did Putin force his hand?
Maybe, to an extent. I mean, I don't think this president quite understands the threat that Putin poses and the threat that a Russia resurgent in the Middle East poses, not just for today, not just for the fight against ISIS, but 10 or 20 years down the road. So maybe it's forcing him to be a little tougher. I just love to see him be a little tougher against the Russians in Ukraine, for instance.
Well, we made a decision on Afghanistan. That strategy was changed, and now you're starting to see what has been a stalemate for several months. And according to reports out of Washington, the president said, let's figure this out. So what is the best way out of it now?
Well, I give the president credit for reversing strategy. I could have told you 2 years ago he was going to have to do this. I mean, everybody basically knew it. Again, I want to give him credit where credit's due, but at the same time, it seems like there's more of an obsession about troop numbers. 9,800, well, that's 4 figures instead of 10,000, which is 5 figures. 5,500, at the end of the year when we should stay at 9. I mean, so when it's all said and done, the president needs to make clear the Afghan people, 80% of them support the American presence in Afghanistan, and they want the Taliban defeated. So we're going to partner with them, probably going to be for quite a while, to be honest, with the end of the future, and the president just needs to make that clear.
Well, a lot of people say no-fly zones are a no-go zone because it takes so many personnel to keep it under control, so perhaps that is not the option. It does not appear, based on the reporting, that that is where we are headed. We shall see. Sir, thank you for your time. Adam Kinzinger, the Republican from Illinois, thank you.